Hi, I'm Malka Katzenstein. I am a wellness coach. I think, hi everybody. Thank you, OKclarity, for having me tonight. I'm Malka Katzenstein and I'm a wellness coach. And tonight I'll be talking about some tips for emotional regulation. And I think we can start by talking about let's get clear on what emotional regulation is. We all have feelings all day, every day, and they change because that's part of being human. And emotional regulation is the ability to recognize, manage, and respond to our feelings in, appropriate ways and in ways that, that are manageable. And when we are not able to do that, we can, overreact or just not, get caught up in our feelings in a way that's just not helpful to us or takes over. That's being emotionally dysregulated or, not responding, having feelings or emotions that are not necessarily appropriate or proportionate to what's going on. That's being emotionally dysregulated. And that is not a good thing because when we do that, we're prone to overreact and have outbursts. It can be harmful to relationships. It can cause us to make mistakes, at work or just, in things that we're doing because we're just too activated. And that doesn't feel good. And then it can also cause us to not feel good about ourselves. And then, the things that can result from that are, retreating because we can't ever feel like we have a handle on things or feel good. It can lead to emotional eating. It can lead to self-harm, just having a low tolerance for anything. And so we want to avoid that and work on being emotionally regulated. And, we learn that, we can learn that by doing things like this, by learning about how to have that. Some people are just, emotionally dysregulated because they didn't have good role models or they never learned anything or they're just, just reacting to things that are not happening, like sort of like PTSD, when you see a thing and you get really upset about it and it's not about the thing that's happening, but it's about something that you're already upset about. Or just, it can be things like being tired. It can be, physical things like being tired or having low blood sugar, because that can cause mood swings or, being hangry, being angry because you're hungry, things like that. So, to talk about all of these things that are things that can happen can help give us some more information and help us learn the things that are kind of like universal, when it comes to this, but then we can also think about ourselves, which things are, for us, each of us personally, the things that are, are the things that trip us up. And I was thinking about Viktor Frankl. He was a psychiatrist, and he wrote this very famous quote that I'm going to read because I can never remember it. And he says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. And I think that that's a very appropriate quote for this talk, because if we can, feel a feeling, maybe in response to something that's going on around us or something that, that's going on and that's happening to us, if we can take a pause and figure out what we're feeling and how we want to respond to it, then that's being regulated. If we let it take over us, these terrible things happening, and you panic, then that has control over you. And then you have no freedom. It's controlling you. So I want to talk about some ways that, in the moment, when things are happening and you're feeling triggered or you're feeling strong emotions, or if you notice like that throughout the day you kind of have an emotional roller coaster, and it could be just because, I don't know, you're having a bad day. It could be because you didn't sleep enough at night, or it could be because really you're experiencing things that are challenging. In any of these cases, all of us have the ability to regulate ourselves. And, I'm going to talk about a few things that we can do in the moment, but really it comes with practice. And then there are just like some overall, lifestyle habits and lifestyle things that we can, put into practice that will help us, put us at an advantage so that we can fall back on these things more easily. But let's start talking about, in the moment when something's happening and you're feeling, you're feeling agitated, you're feeling angry, you're feeling sad, you're feeling a strong emotion, and you don't know what to do with it. So I think that the first thing to do is to just, and again, it's not easy to do this because it comes with practice, but if you can stop, if you can just for a moment, notice I'm feeling really, name the emotion. Already doing that will already give you some sort of control over it because you're able to name it, you're able to describe it, you're able to have some sort of, distance from it. So you name it, you start by naming it, you take a breath, just pull yourself together. If you're with people or you're, it's also always okay to move to another room. It's always okay to get away from people. I mean, not always okay. It's not always possible, but if you can, sometimes you might feel like you need to do that, and that's okay to do because you're taking care of yourself, and in the long run, it will be better for everybody else anyway, if you can respond appropriately. And so feel what are you feeling? Naming the feeling, the emotion, but then also what are you feeling in your body? Is your heart pounding? Is your stomach in a knot? That also will give you some kind of clues as to what you're feeling, and also give you some sort of control over. I don't like to use the word control because it will make you feel less controlled. Let's put it like that. Because you're able to have some distance, also give you some distance and give you some space and give you more, let's say, autonomy over yourself. And also give you choices because, like in that Viktor Frankl quote, then you have the opportunity to decide what you want to do with it. And all of these things that I spoke about so far are ways to calm your nervous system, because ultimately, really, that's what it is. That's what you want to do. Your nervous system is being overactivated and you want to kind of get a grip on it. Except, once you've done all these things, you took a breath and you named your emotion, you figured out what you're feeling in your body, accept it. You could beat yourself up over it, but that's not going to be helpful either. So accept it and say like, oh yeah, I'm feeling really angry now. And then again, decide, what do you want to do with that? Is that appropriate? And if it is appropriate, okay, how do you want to handle it? Is there something you can do about it right now? Over time, you can learn to notice your triggers, and then you can decide what you want, how you want to handle things in the future, what you want to do about it. What can you do to make things less triggering, less activating for you? If you know that a particular person really pushes your buttons, are you going to let that person push your buttons? I don't think that that's a good idea. So, and it's just one example. If you want to be in control of yourself, well, what can you do about that? Okay, if it's possible to avoid that person, okay, you can do that. And when it's not possible, what are ways that you can help yourself so that that person is not so triggering and doesn't make you feel so emotional? And, of course, each of us have to figure that out for ourselves because each, relationship is different and each of us react differently. But some things you can do are to say, please don't talk to me like that, or please don't say that, or even just don't say anything. Sometimes that's the thing to do. Those are just some things I'm throwing out there. But, for everybody, it's something different. Ask yourself if you're tired, not that you can just drop everything and go to sleep all the time, but just also that's just information for you. So you know that when you're tired, this is how things affect you. Are you hungry? Like I said, low blood sugar can cause reactions like that, and just like being angry makes you mad sometimes. If you're, just also information. Are you upset about something else? Sometimes we can have a really bad day, and then I actually had a day like that the other day. It was like every little thing was bothering me, and I know it was because I didn't sleep enough, and I know it was because I was stressed about a whole bunch of things, so that when I dropped a thing, I got really upset, and then I can't remember, something else spilled on the floor. It was a lot of little things that were happening, and I was just getting so upset about them. And I know that it was because I was tired and I was stressed about other things, and I hadn't eaten lunch. I'm not always so good at following my own advice, and also allowing myself to share that, and to not make me feel like a failure. Like, it happens. I was having a bad day. So every little thing that normally I would be able to say, okay, I dropped my phone. Okay, fine. But no, I dropped my phone, and I got so upset about dropping my phone, and it didn't even break. So it wasn't, it was just, I dropped my phone and I could have broken, and I felt myself starting to spiral into that. So, I was having a bad day, and that's what happens also. So ask yourself, like, wait, why am I getting so upset because I dropped my phone? Oh, wait, because I'm having a bad day. And then also that will help you to, that can help to understand what's going on, and also to kind of regroup and not let that thing, control the whole situation and control your mood and the rest of the day. I hesitate to say this because, it might sound sappy, but, positive self-talk, like tell yourself, because this works for some people and other people really hate hearing this. So I'm going to share it, and everybody, if it works for you, great. And if not, then dismiss it. Find the thing that does work for you. Positive self-talk. You can tell yourself, I'm not a loser. I'm not somebody's punching back, just whatever it is that you can do. I can handle things. I can take care of it. Whatever it is that you need to, that's helpful to you. And even maybe trying to reframe things, when something looks, somebody really got you mad, or a situation looks really hopeless. If you can, and it can be hard to do in general, and especially when we're upset, but it can be really helpful to try and reframe the way we see things. So if that's helpful, that can, go a long way. And also you can get used to doing that, so that you might not initially react in such a strong way anyway. So, the benefits of being emotionally regulated are obvious. You just feel better, you feel calmer, you feel less stressed, you feel more in control of yourself. You can protect relationships and situations, because you will be less prone to overreacting. And it's just, something to feel good about, it just feels more comfortable. And, it comes with practice. For some people, it's just, some people just get it and it's easy to do, and for some people it's difficult. And like I said, it's because it could be for any number of reasons, and often it's really because people were never taught. The people around us overreact, and the people around us have mood swings, and that's just what we know. So we can actually teach ourselves to do it, and also know that some days you'll get it and some days we won't get it, and over time it becomes easier. And so what can help with that is just to incorporate certain things just into your daily or almost daily routine, where you have a sort of calmer nervous system, and that when something is triggering or when things are happening, it becomes sort of like a default, to go back to that calmer place and to not react. And that comes with practice, and also not going to be great every single time. And having realistic expectations is so important for anything, but for this, especially because we're talking about feelings and emotions, and, not to get caught up in, let it like drag you away just because you're upset that you're having a certain feeling, because then that becomes, an endless loop. So the things that can help are just, to do like breathing practice, like, every day, maybe for, 5 minutes, you can set a timer, or even, what I found helpful is to just put a timer on, like I have my phone, like dings for me, it vibrates, whatever. I have an alert on my phone every hour, just to remind me to take a few deep breaths. And I think that that's helpful. And sometimes I ignore it. I'll be honest. Sometimes I ignore it and sometimes I don't. So just, having that awareness, or, taking 5 minutes every day to do that becomes a practice. And it also, sets your nervous system at a, less keyed up place. Mindfulness also, mindfulness exercises, mindfulness work, meditation, breathing, yoga, all of that kind of thing. Doing those kind of things regularly also helps with your nervous system to, keep you calmer, and will help you be emotionally regulated in the long run. And also, again, in a moment, in a bad moment, in a, heated up time, you will be able to get back to, the calmer place more easily. And lifestyle things like sleep. I feel like I say this in almost every talk, but it really is so important to get enough sleep. It's important to get movement. It's important to get adequate nutrition on a regular basis. All of those things are, so basic. And I will acknowledge, sometimes hard to do, but also so important. They really go a long way in helping us just feel balanced. And that will help feel, to be emotionally regulated. Journaling can be really helpful also, because that way you also have an awareness of your feelings. And especially if we find that things are bothering us, or we're overreacting, we're not really, having, the appropriate or proportionate reactions to things, then, we can sort of keep an eye on it, notice patterns, like I said, and figure out where to go from there. Therapy is also a really great way to become emotionally regulated, because also it will help, with whatever, give you some tools to deal with really strong feelings, and maybe figure out where those feelings are coming from, and, what, the origins are. And somebody wrote a question, what does adequate nutrition mean? So, just to answer that very basically, it means making sure that at every meal you get enough food to, so that you're not hungry, so that you won't be in a bad mood because you're hungry, and also to, to nourish your body and your brain. And that means getting enough, getting healthy fat, getting protein, whole, healthy carbs, which can come from whole grains. And that's a whole other talk. But, basically in a nutshell, it means just, making sure that your blood sugar never dips too low, making sure that you eat foods that are nourishing for your body and for your brain. And I know that's oversimplified, but, over time, and again, we can't be perfect all the time. And, just awareness, like, if you find yourself feeling dysregulated, one of the first things you can ask yourself is like, oh wait, did I eat enough today? Did I eat today? Because very often, sometimes that can do it. And also, like, avoiding things, too much caffeine, too much, alcohol, things like that can make us jittery and also get us keyed up. So especially knowing if those are things that are triggering for you and, for your body, and then causes you to feel like you can't get a handle on things. So I hope that this was helpful. Just to kind of recap, being emotionally regulated means not having your feelings control you. It means like being able to manage your emotions, being aware of your emotions, and having feelings is part of being human. And sometimes we will have strong feelings, and sometimes, it will be more than we can manage, but just knowing that you have tools can be really helpful. So I hope that this was interesting and helpful. And, I think it's really, I think it's an important topic for now, because it seems like the world has gone crazy. And if we can find some peace within ourselves, then I think that can be, that can feel good, that can feel better, and help us manage, whatever is going on around us. So thank you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here, and have a good night.